Hey everybody, Punisher88 here, coming to you live with my entry to Liking the Covers 4963's 50 sub contest. So right off the bat, I want to say congrats on getting to 50 subs. It's a nice little benchmark to get to. You're only halfway to 100 now, man, so keep on at it. Second of all, I wanted to say to anyone out there who isn't subscribed to Liking the Covers 4963, I urge you to do so. He's a great guy. He's got a lot of cool stuff from his weekly pickups to stuff in his collection, as well as in a lot of his videos plays some bitchin' tunes. So yeah, I really urge you guys to go check him out. And so for his contest, he wants us to answer 4, technically 5 questions. So the first question is, what is the first comic you ever bought because of the cover? Well, for me, the first comic I ever bought based on the cover alone was The Punisher number 10 from the 1987 run, which is 104 issues. And yeah, it was issue number 10 really did it for me. The reason why, and I mentioned this when I entered the 150 sub contest for Mercy's Little Show, is it's such a simple cover, yet as simple as it is, it has an impact as well. And basically all it is, it's an all white cover with the Punisher and Daredevil just going to town, duking it out with each other. And when I first saw that cover, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And so I was like, I gotta have it. So I picked that one up based on the cover alone. And also, that's the book that started it all for me. That's the book that started me in the whole, comic collecting and everything. So that is the one. The second question is, what is a cover that I would like to own? Well, that's a tough one, because there's so many great comic book covers. But I mean, there are the famous, the heavy hitters, I like to call them, like Giant Size X-Men number 1, Incredible Hulk issue 181, Amazing Fantasy 15. Those are like the real, Fantastic Four number 1, anything like that. Those are the real doozies, But for me, it would be any of the Spawn cover swipes, any of them. I have a couple so far. I'm trying to actually collect them all. Some in particular that I like are, I think it's Spawn 221, which is a cover swipe of Amazing Fantasy 15. Awesome cover. Issue 231 or 233, I think, I'm not sure, is the cover swipe of Action Comics number 1. Also very cool looking. And actually, speaking of Action Comics number 1, another cover that I would like to own, and actually in Cadillacs the Mighty's entry to this contest, he actually showed the cover, and that's of Amazing Spider-Man 306, which is a cover swipe of Action Comics number 1. And I've mentioned, I commented on that video, and I mentioned that it is a book that's been on my list for a while. I just never really picked it up. But with my local con coming up in July and everything, I'm gonna probably look for that book. Another cover, a big one that I would love to own one day, is Amazing Spider-Man issue 50. I've always loved that cover, that all red, Peter Parker walking away, Spider-Man looking back, the whole Spider-Man no more. Love it. Also, it's the first appearance of Kingpin. So yeah, absolutely adore that cover. Also, Incredible Hulk issue 340. You know, big fan of Todd McFarlane, and always love that cover as well. Great Hulk and Wolverine battle in that book. The cover alone, I mean, Wolverine and, with the Hulk's reflection in his claws, just awesomeness. Another one is a book I never really hear people talk about, and it's Uncanny X-Men issue 379. Love it because, for starters, it's an Adam Kubert cover, and Adam Kubert's artwork is so cool. And it's another very simple cover, yet, to me anyway, looking at it, it just is like, wow, this is so cool. It's an all-black cover with Cyclops' visor on it, and that's it. And it looks like there's like smoke coming off of it. And I don't know, for some reason, I've always wanted that cover. I do believe it is one of the first issues after the whole Age of Apocalypse story. So there's that, but just the cover, so cool. And then if I had to go with something, like super outrageous, whether it be super expensive or just, really hard to find, that would be Captain America #1 from the 1940s. Because, I mean, let's face it, there's nothing more badass than seeing Captain America socking it to Hitler. I mean, it's just so cool. So, yeah, those are my choices. But out of all those, if I had to pick one, it would probably be the Amazing Spider-Man #50. Second, or actually third question is favorite comic book TV shows / movies. Now, I know you asked for 3, but I have a couple here. First one, TV show, The Flash. I mean, the CW's Flash, because I've never watched the 90s Flash, but I heard it was pretty good too. But yeah, CW's The Flash. I love it. I've been with it since, episode 1. I know a lot of people, at least I've seen online and everything, a lot of people ditched it because they said it's too comedic and everything. And when I see that, I'm like, well, what do you expect? You can't have every comic book show being dark, like Gotham, or, spooky and gothic like Constantine or something, You gotta have something that's a little, lighthearted and whatnot. And I find The Flash does that perfectly. You got jokes. Barry Allen is funny. Cisco is funny, always coming up with the names of the different villains and whatnot. And just, I find it ties together so nicely. Second is a movie that didn't do too well in the theaters, and it's got some naysaying in the comic community, and that's The Punisher Warzone. I find Ray Stevens did a great job at playing the Punisher, and I liked the first one with Thomas Jane. I count that one as the first one. I don't count the 1989 Dolph Lundgren movie, although some people out there like it. And I'm not hating on the Dolph Lundgren fans out there, but I consider the Thomas Jane Punisher movie the first one. But yeah, I really like the Punisher Warzone movie. It was a lot more, I guess you could say, gorier than the Thomas Jane one, but I just found it was great. And a little tidbit about that movie, an awesome part is part of it was, well, a scene in there was actually filmed here in Montreal, so there's some hometown love there. Third, Guardians of the Galaxy. Loved it. Loved that movie. Loved Rocket and Groot, and Drax was awesome. Gamora, the whole crew was awesome. But the thing that really did it for me, and I'm sure a lot of people out there watching could say the same thing, was basically, and pardon my language, but I just flipped my shit when I saw Thanos for the first real time. I know there was the little cameo at the end of the Avengers movie, but seeing Thanos for the first real time, I was just like, oh my god. So yeah, that really did it for me as well. So that's why Guardians was amazing to me. Another is Marvel's Agents of Shield. That's another show I know a lot of people jumped off like after like the first like 5 or 10 episodes of the first season, whereas with me, I've been with it as well since episode number 1, and I know a lot of people are starting to come back now since season 2 started because it's really picking up and everything, and awesome to the ones who are coming back. But me, I'm a lifer of the show pretty much since episode 1. So love it. I find Coulson's amazing. And then last is another movie, as cheesy as it was and everything, but Batman Forever. I love that movie. Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face was so cool, and Jim Carrey as the Riddler. Oh, that was perfect. And again, like I've mentioned in a couple of my videos, since I'm a huge Two-Face fan, seeing Two-Face in a movie was awesome. I love Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face so much too. I can almost go line for line for almost all the stuff he said in that movie. That's how much I liked it. So that's that. Next is favorite Saturday morning cartoons. Well, first off, Batman the Animated Series. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. It was just awesome. That noir, really heavy, dark, black and white-ish animation. It was awesome. The stories were so good. If I had to pick a favorite episode, would have to be the Mr. Freeze episode. It was just so good. Next, also more 90s goodness. I have to go with X-Men. Loved it. Grew up watching that. Got like every episode on DVD. I got the box sets and everything. Third is a cartoon that I've never really heard many people talk about. Maybe it's because it only lasted like 1 season. I don't know. And that's, now this may sound a little odd mentioning this in a lot of, with like, Batman, X-Men, and all this. And that's Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Now, I don't know how many of you out there are familiar with that show. I, for one, I remember watching it when I was really little, and I thought it was awesome. There was a comic book series about it too. I don't think it lasted very long, but I loved that cartoon. And I just thought it was so cool seeing the main character driving around in this red, I think it was like a 55 Caddy with all these big metal, like I think they were like machine guns or whatever, just sticking off of it, and just it was so cool. So really love that show. And then another one I don't hear a lot of people talk about. I know Tylox mentions Biker Mice from Mars. That was an awesome show. I watched that as well. But one that I watched more than Biker Mice from Mars was Street Sharks. I loved it. Whenever that cartoon came on, I was glued to the set. I just loved that cartoon. And again, there's another show that didn't last very long, and would love to find a box set or something, because I think there was only like 40 or 41 episodes or something. So would really love to find a box set of that for my collection. So that's that. And I mean, there was all the other big ones. There was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Spider-Man and everything, but I'm just going with the ones that I really remembered, watching like it was a religion. And then last was something you do very well. Well, for me, let's see. Well, I'd have to go with there's not a day that goes by where I don't make someone laugh at least once. At least I could say that, at least every day that goes by, I make at least one person laugh, and I find I'm pretty good at that. So for that achievement, yes, I tap myself on the shoulder for that. So anyway, those were my answers to the questions you asked. Fingers crossed I win. If not, it's cool. Good luck to all the other participants so far. And the reason why I say if I don't win, it's okay. It's just because I have fun doing this. I like answering other people's questions and whatnot. So yeah. So anyway, that's it for now. Again, go check out Liking the Covers 4963's channel, and I'll post a link in the description so you can go check him out. And that's that. Alright guys, so that's it for now. So this is Punisher88 signing off. See ya.